Hey, 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 hey! How's everybody on today? Anyway, uh, good to be here. This is yours truly, Jonathan Williams, with Information Station JW, where you get quality reviews and information that you can rely on. Out here taking care of some business and decided to come on the channel and for a couple of reasons. First, I want to start off by saying, wow. Uh, wow. That's all I can say. Um, the last video that I uploaded, it was initially just a rant and wanted to respond to something that I had heard. And so I got on and basically did a, short, stint with, my rant. And the response that I got from that was like, wow. But I did get a response and I wanted to address it on the channel. You know who you are. And so I wanted to kind of address that. But before I get into that, I just want to say again, wow, thanks for the support, the subscribes, the likes. Again, I just, I just do what I love to do. And, when you're authentic and genuine, I guess people connect with that. So I thank you guys for, your support and the likes and subscribes. But anyway, I'm just going to get right into this. I had someone ask me a question regarding the last video that I uploaded. And they were asking a question in relation to something that I said about, basically intimacy brings about closeness, and effective and true communication brings a true resolve, not a deceptive one. And the individual is pretty messed up about some things that happen, and you're not always going to get justice. I alluded in my last video, I was talking about, I gave a scenario about being in court. You don't prosecute anybody in a case and have a trial with somebody or about somebody without the accused being there, so that they're able to speak on their behalf or have representation for themselves, if they're not able to be there, and then you convict them and basically put them in jail. So I made that analogy to make a point that, people who, with the intent, unfairly do that type of injustice, is solely based out of manipulation, hatred, and more importantly, they're trying to hide something. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You should never feel threatened by hearing what someone has to say, regardless of what they think about you or what the narrative is or how they feel. If an individual feels threatened by you because you have your truth and you want to speak that truth, they don't want to hear you. You can't worry about that. You have to move on. You have to go on and do you. Okay? In a nutshell, do you. It's a wrap. You can't sit up and mope around what people are going to say and what they're not going to say, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. At the end of the day, you have to be genuine and authentic with one's self first. And as long as you're doing that, you can move on and you can go through this life with no regrets, So to the nameless individual that was questioning me about, what do you do in situations like that where you've tried to mend situations and, you've had your name dragged through the mud, essentially. You can't win every battle in life. It's not about you always having your say on an issue. more importantly, it's about accepting the truth. Whether or not somebody hears that truth doesn't determine, or it doesn't change that truth. You have to be assured with yourself. Yeah, it's unfair that you know one side of a story or an issue is being told. Some of the things, I know it hurts because in reality, some of the things that are being said can be manipulated. There may be truth to a situation, but until a person understands and knows the side of that truth as to the details and why things, transpire, they'll never have an understanding. And then you have to realize too, not everybody's in that position to whereas, they love you or they like you. You know, not everybody's in your corner. I don't care how nice, how dedicated you may be, how much love you show people. You're not always going to get reciprocation. Love is about reciprocity. Okay. It's a two-way street. I alluded in my last video about that, and I talked about, you know, if your intent is to speak on things from one side of a perspective, you're not doing it out of love. You're not doing it for the sake of unity. You're doing it for the sake of trying to hide um, something that you don't want people to know about. Sometimes people will think they have things that they can pretty much tell you about yourself that they've received second or third or fourth handed. Funny thing about that, though, they never have talked to you, they never step foot to you and will talk to you and, collaborate with whatever the issue is. But they'll run with that narrative and they'll basically, take that and run with it. Well, you can't chase folks, honey, trust me, listen to me, listen to what I'm about to tell you. You cannot chase folks, okay? Look at me, right here, front and center. You cannot chase folks, all right? You can do your part in a two-way situation that I alluded to. It's always about two. It's never about one. I don't care how they present it to you, what they say or what they don't say. If you're not getting reciprocity in whatever the situation, if it's a friendship, if it's a relationship, if it's a marriage, a business relationship, whatever it is, if you're not receiving reciprocity in that, you know what? You just got to turn and burn, okay? You can't worry about that. Life is too short and you have to move on, all right? I don't care what you do. You could have built the tallest building in the world and put all the homeless people in it, and somebody's going to find something wrong with you because they're going to think, well, why didn't you build me a building? And you got $200,000. That's just the type of mindset people have. No matter what you do, no matter what you give, whether it be your time, money, effort, love, sacrifices, at the end of the day, people are going to find something that they're bothered by or moved by. What you've got to realize, honey, is this. There are those that are in your life. There are those that come into your life who will not be a part of your life. They are there to teach you lessons. They're there to educate you. More importantly, to mature you in certain areas. That may be naturally, sometimes it could be spiritually. But you have to know the difference. Toxicity is a dangerous thing when you don't realize that it is toxicity. That can come in the form of people, things, whatever. You have to recognize these things for what they are and be in a position to be thankful that you recognize them for what they are. And you have a decision to make. You can sit around, you can mope, or you can basically get up and be about your way. Trust me, I've been there. And, after receiving the response that I've gotten, perhaps this is, an open door to kind of get into some of these things and answer questions like, the one that you have. So, hold on a second. Pardon me. All right. Throat kind of dry there. All right. Back to the point. You have to recognize things for what they are. All right. And call a spade a spade. You can't sit up and worry about, everybody, do they like me? Are they going to like me? Not everybody going to like you. They're not going to like what you do. They're not going to like how efficient and proficient you are at what your craft is. Some people are going to, for whatever reason, they just don't like, how you move, what you do, and the sad thing about that is that when you are a person that truly has empathy and you are a person who really cares about people and care about what you do and how you do things, sometimes people will look for the very, problematic thing that they can find about you, and they'll make that the main you. I want to say that again. Sometimes people can go digging. It's like going for, I don't know if you've ever, dug for something, or you were looking for something, you dug for some treasure in the ground. I've actually done that. Sometimes when you are digging for something, you're looking for something, and it may not be necessarily what you find, what you're looking for is what you find, but you're looking for something specific, okay? And you find something and you make that the overall narrative of what the person is. It could have happened 20, 30 years ago. And people have a way of somehow digging that up, and it's buried, and it's been buried for 20 years. But they will dig up something in hopes that they can, join leagues with somebody to rally on your downfall. Not everything in life is a secret. Keep this in mind, honey. Not everything in life is a secret. Some things is just not your business. So you haven't unearthed anything that was a secret. It just wasn't your business. And then you don't know the story and narrative of what it was to begin with. You just heard a piece of the story. So you have to know that and realize that. Sometimes people think they have a smoking gun or a smoking bullet when it comes to your life and your past. It wasn't no secret. It just wasn't your business. Okay. Now, that being said, I alluded in the last video, when people are truly interested and they're really about your well-being, and they're truly interested in knowing the truth of a situation, they will inquire about that. When people have a hatred for you, they have a dislike for you, they'd rather marinate on the negative or the reports of what they've heard than to say, you know what, in the fairness and in the spirit of unity, what's the other side of that story? But see, sometimes people have an influence over others. And what I'm about to say is really powerful, so I want you to really take this and really attach this to you going forward. Sometimes people have an influence over people that it supersedes and it's greater than the actual truth on any given matter or situation. Yeah, that's deep, I know. It's also dangerous, because if I tell you to jump off a bridge and it's going to be in your benefit to do so, and your mind is so wired because of the influence that I have in your life, over your life, you'll jump off that bridge to your sure death. thinking that the whole time while you falling, that somehow before you hit that ground, that you're gonna be saved. Um, Jesus is the only one that I know that alluded to that in the Bible, and he could have done that and called the legion of angels for those that were familiar um, with that interaction with him and Satan, and he was trying to tempt him. He's the only one that I know that can basically call down some angels and lift him up before he hit the ground. But neither here nor there. That's another story. But that can be a dangerous thing when you lose common sense. Okay, uh, in place of what somebody else influence has taken over in your life. That could be your mom, that could be your dad, husband, wife, whomever, brother, sister. But when you get to that place where you lose your common sense, okay, over someone who has such an influence over you that they can tell you anything, and you don't have the common sense to even question it because you are so fearful and you are so afraid of some type of unknown consequence. We came into this world knowing nothing. As babies, we come into this world. We're doing things and we're reaching. We never lost that. I'm going to tell you why we lost it. We lost it. Babies are very inquisitive. They basically, they do things because they don't have an awareness, and they're always curious about things. So they're reaching for this. They may not see the danger in it, but they're so inquisitive and curious. They're drawn to, what's in front of them, what they're seeing. And to a degree that can be self-destructive. But then I think you need to have that. It's an instinct in you. It's a God-given instinct in you. You have this intuitive nudge and feeling that I need to do something, but I don't want to do it because what? If I do that, then I have to worry about the backlash from somebody else. But the whole time, I need to do that, right? But because of the influence and the fear that you have that's strictly based on falseness and falsehood, you won't move. You won't do nothing. Okay? You have to know the difference. God gave every man that. It's called a conscience. He gave us all, before we get into the spiritual stuff, what's called common sense. All right? Common sense will tell you, hey, I know I ain't no athlete, so I ain't going to sit up here and try to jump over this cliff and it's 15 feet away, and I'm gonna get a running start, and I'm gonna try to clear this. It ain't happening. You might as well call call the helicopter to come down to that ditch and get you, because you ain't getting up out of there. It ain't happening. You're gonna in your best effort and your best mind, you're gonna try to go on ahead and run and realize that what, as soon as you jump up off of that what's called flat hard ground, and gravity start taking you down, it's too late. Well, God gave you that. He gave you that common sense to say, and no, you know what? You can't make that. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Some people are influential to the point where they can turn that ability off in people. They can turn that common sense off because of the influence that they have is much greater than the actual truth of any given situation. What they speak is more powerful than the actual truth. That is such a dangerous thing, because at the end of the day, you need to know and you need to have a sense of bearing about all things. Doesn't matter whether it's natural or spiritual. You need to know and you need to have in you that something that tells you, hey, you don't need to do that, or hey, you need to do that. Sometimes that uncertainty in you is enough for you to know that, hey, there's something about this situation doesn't feel right. Something about that certain something that I'm being told doesn't feel right. It's called common sense, but a lot of times people will turn it off because they'd rather not face the truth about something or someone because that's all they've ever known, than to dare question and consider that, hey, maybe you could be right about what you're feeling. Maybe you could possibly be right about what you've been thinking. Uh, but you dare not step beyond that threshold to say, you know what, I'm just going to leave that alone because, woe be unto me if I ask a question. As I alluded to earlier, do you spank? Does a child spank an infant, um, or beat a child because they were inquisitive, they didn't know something, or they basically just did something by accident? No, you don't do that. Uh, as they get older and they get more sense about things and they have more, awareness, then you hold them to a different standard. So as you being an adult, you're a grown person. You have a much greater awareness than the infant that I'm talking about. Why would you, and what excuse do you have to basically sit there and accept anything that you're told for face value and then run with that and not have any type of awareness to say, hey, you know what? Maybe there's more to the story than, what I'm being told. You have to know that. You have to know that. I can be led as far as I want to be led in any given situation. And then there's a part that I have in me that says enough is enough. Okay? I'm not going any further. I'm not going beyond this point. You've taken me this far. Okay, I can go so far with this issue or this particular situation, but I'm not going beyond that. Some people have just literally turned that off. You can be drug anywhere. Whatever person tell you, you take it for face. Blah, blah. Get my words together here. For face value, and you don't have anything in you that says, hey, you know what? Maybe you should look more into that, or maybe you should get more information about that, or ask why questions. You can be around a person and you can know things for yourself about a person, and you can know the person's character, and because an individual who has more influence than another person come up to you and tell you something about that other individual, somehow or another, everything that you know about the person becomes null and void and irrelevant. How does that work? I mean, how does that actually work? With the common sense that you have in a situation where you know certain things, how does that override with somebody coming to you because the influence they have is greater than the actual truth of that situation? That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Because now you're looking at a situation where this individual has become more important to you than the actual truth on any given situation and or matter. Well, you just given up you might as well be a robot. You might as well function as one, because it seems to be a penalty for you to basically think about things from a logical perspective, and more importantly, just one from a common sense perspective. Honey, you can't chase anyone with the truth. You can't. The truth always finds you out, and oftentimes more than none, you will find in those situations that if a person is going that hard at you and they putting in the OT trying to destroy your name, they have more skeletons in their closets than you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe the things that are unknown about the individual. Oftentimes, it'll be more than a person can handle. You know, it's easy for you to point to something or someone, um, and cover yourself up when you are in a situation that they feel like, well, I don't like you, and so I'm going to do whatever I can to destroy your influence, destroy your name, destroy your works, um, destroy your credibility. Um, Typically, 9 times out of 10, I even say and go as far as to say 10 times out of 10. When that is done because you are either a threat to something that is unknown, that has become known, or they're trying to get ahead of information that is bound to come out about the individual. Okay, so I just wanted to come on and address the question and tell you that, at the end of the day, you can't worry about that. Honey, you gotta, take what you know, move on. Not everybody's gonna support you. Not everybody's gonna be fair. Not everybody is going to want to hear what you gotta say. I've been there and done that, trust me, you know. And you have to just move on. Just move on. Um, Listen, your closure is the fact that you know what you know. Take that, run with it, build on it, let it teach you. You know, uh, there are many things and lessons in this life that you won't understand. It's not for you to understand every lesson. It's not for you to understand every encounter that you have. But it is for you to understand that not everything that you go through will bring about an understanding. You just have to know that after you've done your part, after you have contributed what you need to do and or say in any given situation, then you've done all you can do. You know, so what more can you do? There's not more you can do in that. So let that go, honey. Let it go. Drop it. Let it go. So, anyways, I guess you can call this a part 2 to effective communication brings about a true resolve and not a deceptive one. Um, that in itself is so true. You know, when two people come to any type of table to discuss any type of issue, the ultimate goal there should be having a true resolve or resolution. That can only be done with effective communication. What is effective communication? Effective communication is simply a communication that is effective. There's no big definition for that. It's effective communication. It means that it did what it was set out to do. Individuals have an understanding of what it is, more importantly, why it is, and there's a true resolve. Not you taking away from it what you want and what you feel, and the other parts that apply to you. You don't want to address that. You don't want to talk about that. So we just avoid that. We don't want to have nothing to do with that. So we dismiss that, and then we take that portion, and then we deceive others because we don't really address the other stuff. We just talk about the stuff that we want to destroy people with. That's deceptive. That's deceptive resolving of issues. Okay. Um, any time in life that you will omit yourself from your responsibility in any given situation, in interacting with another individual, and you decide to omit yourself, you are basically hiding a portion of that interaction. That makes you a coward. I told you all about this in the last video. That makes you a coward because you know what? I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. You know, um, I'll make a few more, I'm sure, before I take my last breath. But the thing about it is, when you take a person's mistakes and you try to capitalize them and use them for ultimately what you have deemed their destruction, you're the one's going to fall. You're the one's going to be destroyed. Because while you trying to destroy an individual, they going on, they moving on with their life, and they basically prospering and doing all the things that they want to do, and you know, they're growing. So you can, sometimes, again, I alluded to, you can think that you have a smoking bullet or gun that's, ultimately somebody else's demise, when in reality, you know, you basically destroying yourself. Why are you putting in so much effort and so much deceptive energy into trying to get others to hate somebody or have nothing to do with a person, when in reality, if they knew the truth about you, and if they knew the skeletons that were in your closet, well, I ain't gonna touch that. I'm not. That's not what I got on this video for. But honey, listen. Like I told you, don't worry about it. And for those of you that are in this situation, where you have been slandered, and or you have a communication injustice, is what I like to call it, a communication injustice, where you were unjustly done a wrong way and weren't able to communicate effectively. It's not about that at the end of the day, because if you don't get your side told, life moves on. You know the truth, you know your truth, and you just have to move forward, plain and simple. You can't worry about everything and everybody. You have to basically continue to be authentic, continue to love, continue to do good, continue to move forward, and don't sit and marinate in all the uncertainties and the negativity of what others have done to you. You can't be bitter. You can't allow yourself to allow somebody else's downfalls to be your downfalls, because it's easy to fall in that energy when someone has, unjustly treated you and have unfairly treated you. It's easy to go to that level. I've been there. But, at the end of the day, you have to let the toxicity go. Sometimes that toxicity can be within yourself, how you are reacting to what someone has done to you. Sometimes you could be the toxicity that you need to let go of. Your thoughts, how you see things, your mindset. You have to be at a place where you realize that within oneself. And that is what is true liberation. Being able to see oneself, and not only being able to see oneself, but being able to acknowledge it for what it is, and then doing the work, putting the time in, going into hermit mode, working on yourself. Once you do these things, then you are in a better position to educate and or tell others about what they need to do. But if you are a deceiver, you're deceptive in your communication, you're trying to evade and avoid your responsibilities in any parts that you play and how you affect others in life and have affected others in life, that makes you a con artist. You are a coward. You can't never get nowhere in life, and you can't ever help anybody truly. You can only speak on the things that are right to do, but you yourself, you won't do them because you refuse to face the man that's in the mirror. Okay. Yeah. You refuse to face the man that's in the mirror. So, I think that's enough for today. I got things to do, but I wanted to get on here, honey, and address your concern and talk a few more things on the first part of the effective communication brings about a true resolve, not a deceptive one. I think that the point has been driven home, and I think the nail has been put into this coffin. So perhaps I will do a series on this stuff. And I did tell you all I was going to start another channel and kind of separate the content, and this is typically the kind of content that I would be doing on this other channel. So look for that coming in the future, and hopefully that helps you out. Again, thank you guys for the likes, the subscribes, man. Oh man, thank you. I have been kind of away from this for a minute and just doing some self-reflecting, some healing, and I alluded to that earlier. But I'm at a much better. I'm at such a much better place, and I'm just so thankful for that, and to you guys for supporting and believing in me, sending me your comments. And so I'll be doing some stuff, and look for it. Hit the notification bell to subscribe, and you will be notified of any videos that I have. And if not, it's not my fault. So you just need to check your YouTube settings. And hey, that's all I've got for you guys today. And so until next time, as I always say, peace.